So earlier today on the Facebook, I came across someone had edited Darth Vader, but with a cat, like a black cat's head. It was an excellent Photoshop, not typically particularly good Star Wars content, but then I shared it and included, this is Athena watching us as we podcast right after we shut off her water, and sure enough, she is watching us with menacing eyes right now.
She's not really menacing. She's just kind of chilling. Right, Athena?
I don't know. She started swiping at me as soon as I walked in the door.
It was because you did immediately encroach in her personal space, but she let you scratch her multiple times today.
And if we're talking about Athena, and it's Wednesday night, that means we're in Rachel's apartment. And that must mean that it's Starformers night. Welcome to Rebels and Robots, episode 22. I'm
Just like
Cameron.
Taylor Swift.
Oh my gosh. We're feeling 22. How about you? You feeling 22?
I don't know the next line.
I don't know either.
I'm not going to that concert. I'm going to a different concert in 2 weeks.
This is our weekly chat about Star Wars and
Transformers. I always want to say robots.
I'm Cameron.
I'm Rachel.
And today's a very special episode. We will be talking about a new Transformers film, Transformers Rise of the Beast. We saw it 2 days ago, so you'll probably hear us fumbling to remember about things that happened outside of our notes, but we'll get there.
It's not as easy to take detailed notes when you're in a movie theater.
Correct. Yeah, I had to take notes afterwards.
Apparently there's rules against that.
Well, it also hurts your viewing of the movie as well. Like, it makes it difficult you'll miss something for sure. But because you're like trying to look really close because you have your brightness down. But nonetheless, before we get to today's topic, as always, we talk about news and recent thoughts, anything from last week. Rachel, you hinted earlier in our conversation about a mistake from last week.
Yeah, I was already thinking about Rise of the Beast. So when we watched the original 1986 movie, The Guy That Spoke Fast, that's not Mirage. That's Blur. That was my bad.
Okay.
That was not Mirage.
Dang. We got so much humor out of
I
that.
know.
And it wasn't even correct. Wow.
It's okay. It was the spirit that mattered. It was the thought that counts. But so, yeah, that was Blur because he's
That makes more
fast.
sense. That makes way more sense.
And then I realized, because we watched an episode tonight, I was like, oh, my credit.
Yeah.
My credit's gone down.
The episode that we watched today, yeah, I didn't even catch it. When you said that was Mirage, I didn't even consider that he was totally different from the character that we thought was Mirage in the movie. The actual Mirage is very boring. He can turn invisible, and that's it.
And he can project himself like a
Oh, can he? I didn't catch
Mirage.
that. Yeah.
He's done it in past episodes.
He can transform into nothing. Great. And then stomp around, and you can still see his footsteps.
They got to show you where he is. That's actually kind of smart.
Speaking of which, the episode we watched today, which was the introduction of, what was her name?
Nightbird.
Nightbird. Both her and Mirage are meant to be stealthy, but they're giant robots and they're still clomping around. That's my only note from that episode. But anyway, so we'll jump into... Oh, actually, from last week, another note I had as I was listening back. A very small note. But we were talking about how Leonard Nimoy is the voice of Galvatron. We forgot to mention that Leonard Nimoy that's not his only Transformers appearance. He's the voice of Sentinel Prime in Transformers Dark of the Moon. We totally forgot to mention that. Very small note, but it retroactively makes it feel less insane that he's in a Transformers film when he's been in one since then. Like, it totally slipped our mind.
Yeah.
But the big news from this last week is seemingly the announcement and a lot of news about a new Star Wars game.
Yes.
I'm sure there had been announcements that there was a Star Wars game coming somewhat in this vein, but I feel like a lot of information got dumped at once, including a trailer. The game is called Star Wars Outlaws, and neither of us have seen the trailer yet.
It is canon.
Is it? That's really interesting.
That's what I've heard.
Okay, well, let's take a look. And what we know about this so far is it's open world. And that's the majority of what I know about it.
Times. At least that's what I hear. The Empire?
Oh, and I know this is between episode 5 and 6. Oh, wow.
But the world here
Pikes.
You got Java with
belongs to the Senate.
Han and Carbonite. Oh, Vibroblade, something we have not seen much in Disney canon, which is pretty much Star Wars version of a sword.
If I want to survive, I have to play their game. Looks like I'm all in.
So we're seeing a game of, what's this game called?
Is it Sabacc?
Sabacc, yes.
On second thought, I'm out.
Bar fight!
Let's go! Is that Ragnar Vizsla? It's not.
So we're getting
That is a grown man.
our main, seemingly our main character is running with her little animal companion through a bar. Now she's on a sick little motorcycle thing. Well, it's a speeder bike that looks like a motorcycle.
It's a Vespa.
My whole life.
He's cute. He's very Stitch looking. Stitch combined with
Finally be free.
what are those like lizard things that have like the I don't even know how to describe it.
Axolotl.
Yes.
Okay.
Get off my ship, Jalen.
Give me a chance. You're gonna have to trust me. You'll be dangerous.
Ha.
Risky. But if you
So
pull
this
this
guy
off,
named Jalen looks like another iconic Star Wars character that comes from video games.
I had a nickel for each time there was a... that looks like Canto Bite.
Yeah.
The underworld shows no mercy,
Pikes.
but it's a big galaxy out there, and I'm gonna risk it all.
So she's got like a droid companion who is a droid assassin. I think is what that is.
Looks like a former
Star Wars
Imperial
Outlaws
assassin.
coming 2024.
So a notable element for me from this is if you're watching the where was it? It's the guy who was in her ship. Where was that? That's here.
Right here.
give me a chance.
So this guy at a minute 39 into the trailer looks a lot like Kyle Katarn, which I don't know how to
Yeah.
spell that. I mean, he's got the shoulder pad, he's got the beard, he's got the hair. Kyle Katarn was the main character of the Star Wars Shadow of the Empire / Star Wars Jedi original Jedi series, Jedi Knight, Jedi Outcast, and Jedi Knight, Jedi Academy. So he was like one of the most popular expanded universe characters pre-Disney. He was, I don't know if he started off as a Jedi. I think he started off as not a Jedi and then became a Jedi and then gave up on the Force and then came back to the Force.
They're good at doing that.
He was back and forth. So he's a fun video game character because he's both a Jedi, but he was originally like a smuggler. He's actually the one who originally stole the Death Star plans. At least in the video game universe. I don't know if there was ever a book that covered that, but at least I'm sure it's possible there's multiple tellings of that story. One of those tellings, he was the one who stole the Death Star plans.
Yeah.
And this looks a lot like him. She calls him Jalen, but
Jedi are really good at changing their names after
Yeah.
Order 66.
Uh-huh. So great character. Been waiting for him to show up. If it's not him, he's clearly inspired by him, which is probably good enough. So it's his companion is the assassin droid or whatever those are called. You could play as those in Star Wars Battlefront.
I did find out, I don't know if he talks, but whoever does the sound effects or whatever for the little fuzzy guy,
Yep, I have that written down.
it's D. Bradley Baker.
D. Bradley. And I was going to quickly scroll through. We've got 10 minutes of official gameplay.
Oh, shoot. For real? I didn't see that.
This came out just 2 days ago. So definitely not nearly as detailed graphics, which is just to be
Well,
expected.
that's what happens when you have very specific cutscenes.
Yeah.
It's like Star Wars: The Old Republic. Have you seen those?
Oh,
Like, those
absolutely.
short movies compared to the actual gameplay?
Yeah, absolutely. But this still looks pretty good.
It looks
The
a lot
environments-
like Jedi Survivor. I would almost say it's being developed by Ubisoft.
Yeah, that's something to talk about for sure, which is pretty much that Ubisoft has a very dubious reputation amongst video game players. They've made a lot of stuff people really love, but they
It's-
are also known for making the same exact mistakes over and over.
yeah.
And Ubisoft specifically is known for making quote unquote open world games that are pretty empty and uninteresting.
Man, I'm gonna suck at the combat in this game.
Yeah, this is very basic modern third person shooter combat, very cover based.
But Star Wars.
Yeah. So we're not seeing a lot of particularly interesting. She's in some sort of
Oh, well, that looks
hangar.
really pretty.
So now we've got her riding on the bike, and it looks pretty smooth.
Can you pet the companion? You can pet BD.
Oh, he's riding on the back of the bike.
Yeah.
That's cool. So here's a cutscene of her talking to the droid. And I don't know why. Oh, here we go.
Job was more complicated than you said, Duncan.
Yeah, so the name of the game is Star Wars Outlaws. So you're playing as a criminal in the underworld.
That's an Imperial.
Yeah. And this feels like this might be trying to play off what was supposed to be Star Wars 1313 or 3131.
I actually have news about that later.
Oh, okay, cool. But there's been
yes.
a desire for like an underworld video game for quite some time.
Yes.
Not Underworld, the vampires versus Wolverine, werewolves movie series, but criminal underworld. Yeah, this could be kind of cool. Probably won't play it just because access to modern video games is an expensive and time-consuming endeavor. But oh, you get to fly a ship.
Oh
Ships.
gosh, do we have to fly ships in this? No! No! Oh no! Oh gosh, this game's gonna suck for me. Ah! Gosh!
So this all looks relatively basic, not necessarily bad, but it's kind of standard. But I think it'll be, if there's any role-playing elements, I think that's what probably people will be looking for, and the freedom. So that was the world from Rise of Skywalker. Looks
Mexico?
like.
Or is it Canto?
No.
Oh, yeah, the world that was like destroyed at the beginning, yeah.
Yep. So that's coming out next year.
So I was complaining because the trailer showed space dog fights. And I hate space dog fights. So I'm guessing I'm going to finally need to play Squadrons so I can practice.
Oh, yeah.
And not die a lot. Like that was oh my gosh. I used to play the original Battlefront 2 with my brother growing up, and he liked those levels. I hated them.
I loved them. Battlefront 2 is so amazing to me.
I hated those levels specifically. My favorite was Hoth and Mos Eisley with all the heroes and villains turned on. I would always play Boba Fett because you could lay down C4, and if you got Yoda chasing after you, you could launch him like 50
Incredible.
feet in the air. It was good.
I love it. Well, what other news you got?
Okay, so on the trend of the Star Wars 1313, Dominic Robilliard, I don't know how to pronounce his name, apologies, who was the director of the canceled Star Wars 1313 game, is working on a new Star Wars game at Skydance New Media.
Okay.
So not this one.
Interesting.
But, so, in one of the comments, Star Wars 1312, I hope. But Star Wars 1313 was a canceled game that was going to be, you were a bounty hunter, I believe, in the depths of Coruscant.
Yeah, I think it was potentially, I don't know if this is ever confirmed, but I remember reading that it was potentially going to end up actually being a Boba Fett game.
Oh, yeah, that might be right.
But at the very least, it would have been some sort of, bounty hunter-centric game.
Apparently, some people are not happy with the Outlaw. Well, there are a couple reasons, but some people are like, why? They're expecting kind of like Knights of the Old Republic style where you create your own character, but I'm going to be honest, I didn't hear people making those complaints when Jedi Survivor and Fallen Order came out. And not to get too deep, but the actress, whose pronouns I'm not aware of, so I apologize, is Latin queer.
Oh, interesting.
So, I don't know where I was going with that. But so I believe also the actor for... I really haven't looked up much Outlaws information because I wanted to watch the trailer.
Yeah.
But the actor who also voices the droid is also Latino. So
Very interesting.
super cool. But I think it looks really fun.
Yeah, and
It's...
open to address what you're talking about. Open world does not mean RPG.
No, RPG means... RPG.
Yeah, it doesn't... Like, I don't know if the marketing team has been making this direct comparison, but a lot of people have been comparing it to Grand Theft Auto. Like as far as like open world element, you can change your character's appearance in Grand Theft Auto, but you've never been able to
not your own
choose your character.
Yeah. Except in like the online, and that's not the story.
Yeah, that's totally different. Yeah, it's online multiplayer. Yeah, so it's a incredibly strange. Like, to say you want a new Star Wars role playing game is one thing, but to just assume a game should be a role playing game is a whole other thing.
I did hear rumors from my coworker. I haven't been able to find a base for this, that the Knights of the Old Republic remake is back on. I know it had been shelved last September, but supposedly it's back in production, but I was kind of struggling to find some information. But if that's true, that's like 3 new Star Wars video game stuff.
Yeah, very interesting. What else you got?
So I don't really know how accurate this is. Supposedly the 3 upcoming Star Wars movies got release dates, and we know how accurate those are.
Well, specifically, I don't know if delayed is the right word, but they got, I think, later release dates than originally intended because of the writer's strike.
Yep.
And 2 of them are in 2026.
Yeah, I believe Dave Filoni's is that May 22nd, 2026. The new Rey movie is December 18th, 2026. I saw a cute comment that was like, that is Rey's month. And I was like, that's pretty accurate. And then December 17th, 2027 for that the one
Origin of the Jedi
Origin
movie.
of the Jedi, yeah.
Yeah. So when this got released, someone said something I think was a pretty accurate observation, which was Disney did not learn their lesson. Or Lucasfilm. I feel like I tend to, like, when things go wrong, I blame it on Disney. But whoever's in charge of the scheduling did not learn their lesson, which is you should not be releasing Star Wars movies too close together. I think they're maybe panicking a tiny bit because it's been so long. But by 2026, it will have been 7 years. Technically, May 2026, it will have been like 7.5 years or 6.5 years since they released a live action Star Wars movie. And so they were trying to get them out quickly. The last time they released a Star Wars movie less than a year apart, the second one was Solo, which bombed financially horribly and just got buried. And now the specific release date mattered. Are you watching the kitty?
I am. She's eating, so I could hear it. So
our semi-weekly munching on the pod.
We should just live stream Athena on like YouTube or something.
Solo had the immensely lack of benefit, whatever the opposite of benefit, the disadvantage of releasing in the same month as I know Infinity War and Deadpool 2 came out that month. And there was probably more, and then after. See, before it matters, but also after, because in the film world, it's a movie has legs is if it does well. Like the run, like a movie needs to do well on its opening weekend normally, but also like movies like Avatar, they're normally December releases, but like movies like Avatar or Titanic, or those are obviously the huge big examples, but even something like oh dang it, now I'm gonna totally blank on the name of the movie. Hugh Jackman owns a circus and also sings.
The
Greatest Showman is a movie that's famous for not opening very strong, but because nothing else came out in January and February, it made a lot of money over time. When you release a movie in the summer, every other Star Wars movies come out in December, and it had the benefit of January and February having a long time to run. Solo did not. Nonetheless, they are seemingly not learning their lesson and still releasing these Star Wars films. And ultimately, that does not matter for us, the audience, in the short run.
Will I be seated? Yes.
Yes. We'll still see the movies, and the financial success of the films does not directly influence us, but, like, Solo bombing is a bummer because we didn't get sequels to it. And not necessarily that we needed sequel. I wanted one of two things. Either you make one Solo movie that is the entire story and you do it one time, or you make multiple and you make them. We got the worst case scenario. One Solo film that doesn't tell the complete story.
Yep.
That sucks. So that the fans are hurt by that, and that we don't get the complete story that we wanted. And I think Solo is a lot of fun, and it was room for growth. So a sequel could have potentially improved. The cast was phenomenal, and also if that movie had done better, we probably would have gotten the Lando show by now, which I also want to see.
Yeah. Speaking of Solo, obligatory. I do not know how accurate this is, but so this news source, Giant Freaking Robot, posted that supposedly Dave Filoni's Star Wars movie will be bringing back Alden Ehrenreich as Han Solo and recasting Leia.
Good.
Because
I hope so.
Me too. It's between 6 and 7. I loved Alden. And
Yeah,
I think one of the
phenomenal young
things
Han
is Harrison Ford hates Han Solo, but he liked Alden.
Yeah, I remember at the time I read a really great interview with Alden Ehrenreich, and he talked about meeting with Han, with Harrison Ford, and they pretty much just hung out.
Yeah.
And Alden struck an incredible balance of still resembling Han Solo, which means you have to resemble Harrison Ford, but making the character his own and still feeling like Han Solo. So it was like 1/3 Harrison Ford, 1/3 Han Solo as a character, and 1/3 Alden Ehrenreich, which was an incredible mix. It was an incredible balance. I really thought he nailed it, and it was great.
Yeah, I would love to see him come back in a movie set between 6 and 7. I feel like it would make sense.
With any rumors like that, especially this far out from the movie, if the movie's not coming out for another 3 years, who knows? It could be true as of now and then become untrue in 2 years. You never know. But just theoretically, I very much prefer them recasting the young versions of Luke, Han, and Leia rather than mocapping. Another podcast I was listening to this last week, they had an interesting insight, not specific knowledge, but like perspective on this, which is it's possible, if you look at the way Disney is orchestrating things, it's possible that you kind of see their agenda, which is to not create movie stars. You see two things like that in Star Wars. You see the obsession with creating a digital Luke Skywalker and everyone having their face covered in Mandalorian.
Yeah.
They don't like the idea of giving an actor too much power.
And I think I love Mark Hamill. I'm so excited that they're still bringing him on. But the mocap can only go so far. And gosh, the body double looks just like him.
Absolutely. And on one hand, I always have a little bit of respect for anything like they did with their version of Luke, because in order to accomplish new technology, you have to do it not so ideally in order to get there. So I commend all of the technicians who made it happen. They did their job excellently. It's not their job to make creative decisions. They have been hired to do it. They did a great job.
Yeah.
It's the decision making behind it that I question. The creative process, the kind of cynical money reason behind it.
Yeah.
Yes, this kind of stuff. I think there are good examples of it, like Furious 7, when Paul Walker died mid-production. Similar technology allowed them to finish the movie.
Yeah.
That's a great motivation for that. And props to them, they have not brought him back. I think it's inevitable that they do. There's going to be minimum 1 more, potentially 3 more Fast and Furious movies upcoming. The more movies that come out, the higher the chance there is that we see a digital version of him, but it hasn't happened yet. Nonetheless, we're talking about kind of gray area here. In my opinion, ideal situation is live action actors.
For sure. So, this is the bit I was talking about. I forgot to do this. So sometimes when your podcast co-host gets married, sometimes he gets married in their hometown. And sometimes that hometown has a really nice pop culture store. And sometimes when everyone else is getting ready for the rehearsal dinner, you leave everyone else an hour early before it starts so you can go check out. And so I would like to show you my haul from that day.
This is great. Shout out to Entertain Mart, which we might be giving away where we live, but I'm going to Google search if it's in other states. And if it is, I'll leave it in. If it's not, if it's only in our state, I'm going to censor it.
So anyways, the funny part is we're at the rehearsal dinner and I'm like, Cameron, do you want to know the toys I got? And he was like, yes. And then, you know, the rehearsal dinner happened. And then he got married, so we couldn't do this. So I'm going to show Cameron on live reaction what I bought from that store. Okay, I'm going to start out. Are you ready?
Yes. All right. Star Wars Andor, Cassian Andor.
These are all Black Series figures.
Unfortunately, we cannot see the actual figures.
Should I open them?
If you want to.
Oh gosh, I think I need a knife.
That's up to you. I've got a knife right here.
Okay.
It's my vibroblade knife. Remember?
Oh yeah, I forgot. I'm about to get shaked.
I love that gun so much. The gun that he had in the show where like the barrel on the inside of the gun flips around when it runs out of ammo.
So we got good. Cassian. So this is my second Cassian Andor figure. The other one is the Rogue One version.
Nice.
So here we're gonna pull them out. Oh gosh. Hope I didn't rip the box. I will cry. That's my favorite thing. I love the boxes. Such a packaging gal.
Okay, Entertain Marts, there are multiple across the country, so it is not...
Good luck figuring out. And actually, it's not even in our town.
Yeah.
We don't actually live there.
Yeah, that's why it was so exciting for you.
Mummified.
Is this him post Rogue One?
Oh!
Actually, there would have been nothing to bury.
There's nothing left. This is a hefty boy.
This is our unboxing podcast, apparently.
It is the unboxing podcast. Oh gosh, he's hefty.
He's got a nice little jacket.
His
good little boots.
Jacket. Boots with the... I could put them all on your laptop
I like
tonight.
His belt is very cool.
Yeah.
He's got little like...
His weapon is over here. I apologize. I didn't unwrap it.
He doesn't have like a holster for his gun, though.
It's because he holds it.
Because he's a white man, he's ready to kill.
No, he's not.
Oh, kind
He's not. He's gonna go without his gun tonight because I don't want to take it out and lose it because someone might eat it. Am I talking about Athena or Cameron? The world may never know.
You can give him Barbie feet.
Barbie feet.
This is stealth mode. With him on his tiptoes. Ow. Pinched me. Dang.
Yeah, he's a little stiff. So yeah, that's one. I don't know if I'll unbox the other ones.
Okay, that's fine.
But we can unbox them. Anyways.
Do we want to reveal how much you spent on this? Because I can see the price from here.
Shut
on
up.
The box.
No. I mean, if you can do basic math. I've just gotten paid. Leave me alone. Okay.
And we've got Senator Mon Mothma from the Andor series. Very
in
nice.
her
Take a look.
stunning white outfit.
Yeah,
that
nice.
doesn't narrow it down really.
That's cool.
She's got a lot of them.
Yeah, like I feel like I don't really look too closely at costumes while the show's watching, but this is a good opportunity to really look at the costumes and appreciate them.
So we have Mon Mothma, our queen. And are you ready? Are you ready? Are you ready for the?
What do you got? Is it the Cameo King? Is this a jump
ready?
scare?
Are you
No.
ready?
Oh, it's the
my
other.
Gosh!
It's the real star of Andor, Luthen Rail. I did not know his last name. He's got like a shiv.
He's a white man and he's ready to kill. I have my very own Stellan Skarsgård.
Yeah, it'd be funny if it said Stellan Skarsgård adds Luthen Rail. It's a toy of the character in costume as the character. That is super cool.
Do we need to take him out?
He's great. If you want to.
Do you need to see the mini Stellan Skarsgård? I do think it would be funny if there was a Bix character, Cassian's friend. She was the one that was, and I like her. I didn't really want to buy another one.
That's fair.
Granted,
I think this is a good
basically
collection.
what shipping would be
Uh-huh.
if I bought them singularly. Tell me why they were selling Grogu for $30.
Oh, surprising.
He takes up 5% of the packaging.
Yeah.
It was
well,
so stupid. I was actually kind of mad.
did he come with like any extra stuff? Like
He came with the pram. He's trapped. Why is
Luthen,
I
can
actually
you breathe?
need the knife again. He's
Oh.
like buried in there. It was actually really dumb because I was like, "Are you kidding me?" He takes up like 25% of I don't actually know if that worked.
You got it?
Yeah, 25% of the packaging, and he's about the size of a quarter. So I don't know. I was
Well-
kind of like this. No offense to Entertain Mart, but like I know y'all are.
You're paying for the character.
Yeah, I don't know if I can get him out without like.
You need to cut it from a different angle? There you go.
Oh, I'm ripping the packaging.
Today's podcast brought to you by Cardboard.
Hasbro, please sponsor me.
Maybe if we get above 10
We talk about
views.
2 of your franchises, please. Kind of.
Are these made by Hasbro?
Yeah. Gosh, that's a good-looking Stellan Skarsgård.
Good looking man.
Good-looking man.
So most of his jacket is separate, unlike Andor. Andor had no separate clothing, but his sleeves are still part of
He's
his body.
so hefty.
Oh, he's got... I did not know he had suspenders. That's
Cute.
fun. Does it come with intense monologue action?
Comes with the monologue written on his hand.
It should come with this sick
I
bike.
burned my life for a sunrise I'll never... It should.
Obviously,
no
vehicles are sold
hood.
separately.
Yeah,
You can make him do the robot, though.
So sometimes when your best friend is getting married, you leave everyone else early to go to the Entertain Mart and buy Star Wars toys.
Sometimes.
Yeah. Every time I'm in that town, I'm like, how can I get away?
Well, I'm glad I introduced you to that place.
Thank you.
Oh, go ahead.
Would you like to hear my uncle's hot take about Star Wars?
Sure, why not?
So we were at dinner, and I'm gonna very quietly rewrap Stellan Skarsgård under the table.
I can do it while you tell the story if you want.
So what happens is we were talking about Star Wars. So Swarovski is a crystal company, and they're coming out with a new Boba Fett crystal figurine.
Oh, I saw this online. Wow, yeah.
I might come into contact with that at some point. Anyways, wow, this is taking a lot longer than I was expecting. Okay, so my uncle was talking about we were talking about Star Wars because we talk about Star Wars, and he saw about Legos he bought. He was telling me, he was like, well, fortunately, you guys didn't have to wait around for years for the second Star Wars, and turn out it sucks. And I looked at him, and I was like, figuring out which one. And I was like, did you mean Empire Strikes Back? He's like, yeah, we had to wait years for that, and it was terrible.
Wow.
And I was like, because I also think it's just okay.
Dang, dude.
And I was like,
Dang,
I
dude.
really think Return of the Jedi is better. And he goes, yes. So
Dang,
this
dude.
is like groundbreaking for me. And so it was just really funny because I was like, wow, I don't really hear people say that outside of myself. So I was like, wow, common ground. So that is...
I think that was a fairly commonly held belief at the time. Like, a lot of people were kind of annoyed with it at the time.
Mm-hmm.
Some people said it was too weird criticism, too similar to New Hope. Like, it was like more of the same. Obviously, some people were put off by the ending. Yeah, I could spend a whole podcast talking about why Empire rules, but that's not what we're here to talk about today. Today, we are talking about Transformers.
We are.
Specifically, Transformers: Rise of the Beast, a new film directed by Mr. Oh, I had his name and I lost it. Just a
Is it
second.
not Travis Knight?
No, Travis Knight did Bumblebee. This is Stephen Caple Jr. Most notably, he also directed Creed 2, which is a pretty good movie. His other movie that he directed is called The Land, which I've never seen. Oh, he did an episode of Transformers Earthspark, the cartoon, which is kind of fun. And the film also stars Anthony Ramos as our lead human character, Noah Diaz.
I actually didn't mind him.
He's all right. Yeah. He is in Hamilton. He is in the movie In the Heights. He's in A Star is Born, 2018. The Liam Neeson movie Honest Thief. He's the voice of the piranha in the animated film The Bad Guys.
Oh.
Let's see. Anything else notable? And the voice of King Trollex in Trolls World Tour.
Oh, boy.
That was the first movie he... Oh, never mind. We talked about this recently. Previously, he was also in Godzilla King of Monsters.
Yes, he was.
And that is all I recognize. We've also got Dominique Fishback as our female lead, Elena Wallace.
I liked her.
We'll talk about it. I did not love her, but also I don't know if it's her fault. The screenplay is not great when it comes to dialogue.
Yeah.
She was in Judas and the Black Messiah, Project
that's where I
Power,
recognized her from.
Night Comes On. Anything else? The TV show The Deuce. The Hate You Give.
Oh, yeah.
The Americans. That's only one episode. In the 2014 TV show The Nick, she was in one episode credited as Black Woman.
No.
That's what it says. Anyways, additionally, we've got Toby
McGuire?
No. Nwigwe? Nwigwe. I'm probably butchering that. He's like our comic relief character. Is he a rapper? I'm guessing he's a rapper because he's in a bunch of music videos.
Oh, the guy who is helping Noah steal cars.
Yes, he's Noah's friend,
Yes.
and he's
The Licorice Man.
He's
the
yes,
Twizzler
yeah.
Man.
He's kind of similar to the hacker character from the first Transformers film. Yeah, he's a rapper primarily than an actor. Well, you know what? Considering that, he wasn't too bad. He was all right.
He was funny.
I think the movie thought we would like him more than we did, but he's all right.
Twizzler bit was kind of funny.
That's all right.
Just have a Twizzler.
Those are our three lead characters. Oh, then you have the little boy, Noah's younger brother, played by Chris Diaz. No, sorry, that's the character's name. His name is Dean Scott Vasquez. Anything notable? He's also in The Heights.
Man, we're 2 out of 3 characters without
Yeah.
Lin-Manuel Miranda. Let's keep it that way.
Yeah, he was in one episode of Mr. Robot, one episode of The Blacklist. He was in something called Theater Camp. So those, and then you've got your Transformers themselves.
Woo!
You got Optimus Prime, voiced by Peter Cullen.
the
No
man.
surprise there.
Unless you're next year's movie. The
animated one. Right. Yes.
I hold my breath.
We've got Ron Perlman, a.k.a. Hellboy, as Optimus Primal.
Monkey.
We've got Peter Dinklage. What is his character's name?
Scourge.
No, what's his character's name in Game of Thrones?
Oh, Tyrion Lannister.
Yes. Also famous for being in the movie Elf and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and a bunch of other stuff. He's in Infinity War.
Yeah.
But he is the movie's lead villain. I'm now realizing there's no human villain in this movie, which is a first for a Transformers film, a live action one.
Unless you count the state of oh man, I had such a good joke. Unless you count the state of capitalized healthcare. I don't know.
Oh yeah, the American medical
healthcare
system is the villain. You've got Michelle Yeoh as Air Razor,
queen.
MVP of this movie. I think
good.
she steals the show. Pete Davidson as Mirage. He's a lead Transformer for the film. Not as bad as one might expect.
Really surprising.
Liza Koshy as RC, who you informed me was a TikToker.
Vine.
Oh, Vine star.
Yeah,
wow.
she dated David Dobrik back in the day.
No idea what that means.
That's okay.
Uh,
That's a person.
Okay, I know what the concept of dating and a person's name is. I don't know who that is.
That's okay. You don't need to know.
You got the man, John DiMaggio, voice actor known for Bender the Robot and Jake the Dog. He voiced both Transit and Stratosphere. And then I'm going to check these other... As typical, we always check the voice actors to see if they've ever been in the other franchise
I
that
wonder
we
what
covered.
Peter Cullen's done.
Yeah. So...
I doubt Liza Koshy's been in anything else.
No. So all three of these characters, Rhinox, Battletrap, and Apeling...
Oh, I believe they are the original voice actors.
Okay. So he's played by
Beast
David
Wars.
Sobolov.
I could also be wrong. I've never seen Beast Wars, and I probably never will because I don't like to be an animation style snob, but I just can't.
So David Sobolov was, funny enough, another Gorilla character, voice of Gorilla Grodd in the Flash TV show, which is pretty funny. He's the voice of Blitzwing in the Bumblebee live-action movie.
Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Earlier this year, he did voices for the Dungeons and Dragons movie, which, side note, really excellent. I highly recommend you check it out. Looking to see if he ever did any Star Wars work or any other Transformers work. Let's see. Star Wars. In the Vader VR series, he's the voice of the Black Bishop and Lord Corvax. In Star Wars Battlefront 2, he was the voice of Doros. And he also did some other Star Wars video games, any other Transformers stuff. In Transformers Prime, he was Shockwave. So there you go.
Hey, speaking of things we should watch.
Yeah, I know. We haven't talked about it yet.
We should. There's a Transformers reference, or there's a Star Wars reference in one of those episodes. Cracks me up every time.
So then you've got Nightbird, who is the lead woman fembot. What do they call them? Femes.
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard.
And so they're not
She-bot, according to G1. Yikes.
I'm blanking. Are they? They're not fighting Decepticons in this movie. Who are they fighting? Terracons. So the lead female Terracon is Nightbird, and she's played by Michelle Jai MJ Rodriguez. And she is from Tick Tick Boom and a TV show called Loot. And I am not really recognizing anything else on here. Anyways. Oh, and then you've got Wheeljack is played by Cristo Fernandez, who is, I know him from Ted Lasso. He is Danny Rojas. He's really good in that. And he was also a bartender in Spider-Man No Way Home. Do not remember him in that.
Is Ted Lasso the show where that guy does the pay it forward thing in the drive-thru and then goes around and orders 55 burgers, 55 shakes? Is that Ted Lasso?
It's about an American becoming a British soccer coach. I have no idea what you're talking about.
I'm confused.
It could be the same thing. And then finally, Unicron is voiced by Coleman Domingo, who I definitely recognize. He's in movies like Lincoln and Selma, and he's in the show Fear the Walking Dead. 103
Do you know who
episodes.
Else is in Selma?
Oh my gosh. Okay, fair enough. Who is in?
Who else is in?
Yeah, who's in Selma?
David Oyelowo.
And why is that relevant?
Because I love him.
Why do you love him?
He plays my favorite Star Wars Rebels character.
Who is?
Agent Callus.
Yeah, okay. I was going to make you go all the way until you said it. Who we're talking about? Coleman Domingo trying to fill the shoes of one notorious...
Oh, gosh. Yeah.
Dang it, I always drop this actor's name. He played Unicron in the original movie. Dang, I'm dropping it at the moment I need it.
Very famous director that died 5 days after.
Where is it?
Orson Welles.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Fun fact, the budget of Citizen Kane was $839,000.
Of what was?
The budget of Citizen Kane.
Oh, I've never seen that film.
So Coleman Domingo trying to fill the shoes of Orson Welles. Anything else? He's in the movie not the original Birth of a Nation, the 2016 movie, The Birth of a Nation. He's also in The Butler, 42. Yeah, okay. We spent enough time on this. That didn't really go anywhere. Just trying to give anyone who hasn't seen it an idea of the cast in this movie. Everyone at least does okay, I think, for the most part.
Yeah.
Um,
I meant to say this in my notes. We also have. I got too many. Notes. Luna Lauren Velez.
okay.
Who
plays,
plays,
how did I miss
who
her?
is bringing in the money this year. She is in Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse as Miles' mom, and also plays Chris and Noah's mom in Rise of the Beasts.
Nice. There you go. You are totally correct. Thanks for pointing that out.
You're
So, opening scene. The Terracons are trying to help Unicron find a way to traverse the universe. He's stuck in one galaxy.
So he can eat planets.
Yeah, I thought the assumption was that he's pretty much eaten every planet in that galaxy, and he has no way to escape that galaxy, and there's a key. Do you remember what the key was called?
The transwarp key.
Is that from any previous existing canon?
Probably from Beast Wars.
Oh, yeah, you're probably right. A show neither of us have seen.
And probably won't see.
So I'm going to bring up the Wikipedia page to see if it can help us with some
What
of these
about the
proper
TF
nouns.
Wiki, though?
Oh, you think that's probably a better summary of this movie?
Yes, I think the TF Wiki is probably going to be a better source of Transwars information.
Okay, Rise of the Beasts. Rise of the Beats, you know, that.
Not sponsored.
Transformers Wiki.
Robots in the sky.
Okay, here we go.
I already got one up. Nice.
So the Terracons led by Scourge. So there's pretty much three main Terracons. We already mentioned the other one as well. What was her name again?
Nightbird.
Nightbird. And then you've also got
Something Trap.
Battle Trap.
Battle Trap.
Who I think looks sick.
He does look really cool.
His head looks like it's kind of a very modern design in a lot of science fiction. Some of the Jaegers from Pacific Rim kind of look like that. Some of the helmets in the newer Halo games kind of look like his head. A lot of other science fiction like Halo-esque games have helmets that look like that. I think it was a really good design. Barely contributes to the movie, but he looks cool.
Hey,
He's
that's
the
all.
Boba Fett of this movie.
Oh, the Boba Fett.
So Unicron's trying to get this key. He's sending the Terracons in his path. The Terracons feel very much like this movie's replacement for
The Decepticons.
well, not Decepticons, but specifically Megatron in the animated film.
Oh, Galvatron.
Galvatron, thank you.
And the Minions.
Yeah, they feel like
Yeah.
they're directly, their power is directly connected to Unicron. At some point, they mentioned that Scourge is like Unicron's in his mind. He doesn't really have free will, something like that.
Like how he was, like how Galvatron was.
Exactly. So yeah, because I feel like they don't want to do the amount of time and effort it would be to establish Megatron in this reboot movie, which, to take a step back and give the movie some context in the franchise, effectively the series has kind of taken an X-Men approach to continuity.
It can't be a reboot at this point.
Like it is and it isn't.
Yeah.
Because this movie is blatantly disregarding the Bay films, but Bumblebee's the exact same Bumblebee from the Bay films. And this movie is a light continuation of the Bumblebee film, which itself has multiple references to the Bay films. That movie was a soft reboot. So this is a incredibly soft sequel to a soft reboot. So at this point, it's kind of like the X-Men films. They had their original 3 films. Then they had a terrible Wolverine prequel that was kind of a prequel, kind of its own thing. And then they did X-Men First Class, which was supposed to be a prequel to the original films, but also kind of starting its own continuity. That's kind of what this feels like. This feels like those later X-Men films that were technically prequels to the original films and made references and used similar actors to the original films, but ultimately were their own storyline.
And I mean, it's one of those things where unless they try to do some serious connecting of the dots, because The Last Night ended with choosing the continuity of Earth being Unicron.
Yeah.
Unless they try to do some timey-wimey stuff that's like,
Yeah.
oh, there were 2 the entire time.
Yeah, I think they're trying. There's some desire to distance themselves from the Bay films, but also
Good choice.
I'm pretty sure Michael Bay is a producer on this movie, though. At the very least, there was a company called Bay Pictures that
Yeah,
was
we did see that.
So I didn't necessarily see his name. I'm going to try to find it here in the credits. Yeah, he's a producer on this film. So he's not... Now, producer can mean a great variety of things. It could be just in his contract, because there's like one guy who, in his contract, is in perpetuity a producer on Batman movies, even though he's not involved at all. That could be something like that. Michael Bay's contract could say he's going to be a producer no matter what until a certain year, a certain number of movies. So, because I know when they, after four, like I think after 3, they weren't really sure what to do with the series. For those who haven't seen, you had in a very quick succession, like every couple years, you had Transformers 1 in 2007, Transformers Revenge of the Fallen in 2009, and then you had Dark of the Moon in 2011, and then all 3 did really well financially. The latter 2 did not do well critically, and they were kind of, and every time Michael Bay said, I'm not coming back for another one, and he always did. I don't think they knew exactly what they wanted to do after 3. They brought back Michael Bay, but totally reset the cast and came back with Mark Wahlberg in Transformers 4, which is called Age of Extinction. And that started a kind of a new series, and it did really, really well financially. But again, terribly critically. I think after 4 did so well, and they saw the launching of franchises with something like Marvel, they wanted their own Marvel. So they started putting together a whole plan to expand the franchise out. And then Transformers 5 The Last Night came out and bombed real hard. It made a decent amount of money, but it was also crazy expensive. And then Bumblebee came out and only did okay. Did well critically, was less expensive, but also... So that put them in this weird position of, this is not really a very strong, viable franchise anymore, at least in this continuity. Bumblebee fans liked. We can kind of use that goodwill. And then that's where we are with this movie. Anyways, to get back on
I will
plot,
say they did make a good choice in 4 and 5 with Stanley Tucci.
Correct. He's weird and fun, and I think this movie lacks that kind of energy.
I love when Stanley Tucci is weird because he was also Caesar Flickerman in The Hunger Games.
Yeah, that's true. He's also the best part of those movies as well.
He's also in what's that cooking show? Or the movie about he plays the husband of
Wow, I have no idea what you're talking about. The husband of a movie.
The husband of a famous baker. Martha and Martha?
Oh, Julie and Julia. About Julia Child.
Yes, anyways, he played the
I didn't know he was in that. I've never seen it.
He was. He plays the husband
Well, very
of
nice.
Julia.
Yes.
Julia, yeah.
I think I'm glad you brought that up. We can talk about it a little bit, but I think this, as I was watching this movie, I think the way I described it, so we also saw it with our friend Bobby and my wife. And
My wife.
yes, thank you. I'll elaborate more as we get more into our actual review of the movie, but I think the way I explained it is this movies in general, you can kind of compare to different kinds of people. This movie is, for the most part, as far as Transformers films and action films go, a pleasant, kind person. You like, it's fine to be around them, but they're not particularly memorable. Whereas the Bayformers films are pretty obnoxious, annoying people who are very interesting to talk to.
We did tell your wife the truth about Devastator.
Yes. I think the Bayformers films, while obnoxious and annoying, are incredibly memorable. And you don't like necessarily being around them, but they stick in your head. But anyway, and I think Stanley Tucci really embodies that energy very well in those last 2 movies. And there's not a performance like that in this movie.
No.
So we were
Imagine
talking.
if they just brought him back.
I would love that
as a third
just throw him
character.
in. He already played two totally
totally
separate
different characters.
Keep doing it. That'd be a great bit.
The Stanley Tucci reoccurring cameo.
That'd be an awesome bit.
So good.
I mean, they already do it with Stan Lee. He could be this series Stan Lee. They used to. Rest in peace, Stan Lee.
Yeah. So we, I guess, so we're in that first scene where the Terracons are being sent to this, not quite Earth, but a similar lush planet to find the transwarp key. And not just them, but there's some other unnamed ones trying to find the key. And we come across our first shot of the Maximals, where we have, I did not catch his name, Ape Link?
Something like that. I couldn't tell if it was a Q or a G. I don't know if it was a typo. But either way, I think the pronunciation would be quite somewhat the same. Ape-ling or ape-link? I don't know how you
think
pronounce a Q at the end of a word.
Link. I was thinking like a K, like a
Yeah,
digital
it was
link.
I think it was a Q at the
okay.
end. But anyways,
Fancy. So the Maximals are like, oh crap, what do we do?
so they're the
And,
keepers of the key.
Yes.
They're the one who are defending it.
So we see kind of our cast, and then we have Ape Link, who tells the others to leave in what is their version of the Ark, and to take the key with them. And then he dubs Optimus Primal with his official title.
Oh yeah,
They escape.
a name that makes me laugh every time because he's a big monkey boy.
Big monkey.
So for context, the Maximals are Transformers who they don't transform into animals. They transform. No, sorry, they don't transform into vehicles. They transform into animals.
I don't know if they're considered techno organics. They're almost like a weird middle ground where their armor kind of looks a little fleshy.
Oh yeah, yeah. They
but-
have kind of hair.
Yeah.
like the bird has feathers for sure.
Granted, they were giving beards to everyone in some of the Bayformers
that's
films,
true.
so it
That's
could
true.
just be that. But so Scourge comes out, kind of decimates Ape Link very quickly, and
Yeah,
they see the Ark fly off, and they
And-
realize they've been foiled.
I think this opening scene is very effective.
Mm-hmm.
I genuinely felt the connection between Ape Link and this. Wow, this, the moment I say it out loud, it sounds very silly. Ape Link and Optimus Primal. They, I don't know. It felt like this very father-son, mentor-mentee relationship. I don't know exactly what their relationship to one another was, but it felt genuine. Like oh, there's actual emotion between these two.
It was the headbutt.
Yeah, I thought it was very cute. And it was very sad when Ape Link got absolutely wrecked in 2 seconds.
Obliterated.
Fight did not last very long at all. And while I don't think that ultimately Scourge is a particularly interesting villain, I did enjoy, at least in that first scene, that Peter Dinklage was just going for it. It's very reminiscent of all the villain performances from the original show, and I thought it was a lot of fun.
I will say I find it interesting when we see Scourge's design, because he looks like another similar. Probably if I see him side by side, there wouldn't be as many similarities. But it was the mask really that made me think of an IDW villain, Tarn, who has
Okay.
a mask that is basically the Decepticon symbol. It's basically like, it's very showy, but absolute war criminal. Horrible person. But it just kind of felt a little similar, especially with like the hunting down and taking of symbols, which we see.
That is the one cool gimmick that Scourge has, is that he steals the logos off of his victims.
Insignias.
Insignias, thank you. I think that's pretty cool. It's pretty brutal. It gives him a distinct look.
And he has a lot. Like when we see him in this first scene, he snatches the Maximal signal and he welds
It's fun.
it to himself, and he has a lot.
Yeah, is there any particular logos in there that stood out to you other than
I really would have needed to have seen
Yeah.
a photo. I think there was one of I keep wanting to say Protectors, but that's Star Wars.
Let me see if I can find an image.
They're on his grill.
Yeah. While we're looking this up, I also wanted to just note, so something that is not really fully explained, and I probably would have never really thought about, and if I didn't know that, so these Maximals, they come from the Transformers cartoon Beast Wars, which takes place in the distant future, and that is not ever explicitly stated as far as I could tell in this movie, but they do say that the key allows you to travel through both space and time. Mm-hmm. And they escape to Earth, and they tell the Autobots that they are from their future and past. And Optimus Primal says that he is named after Optimus Prime. So I think the movie's pretty obviously showing that they are from the future and they have traveled back in time to Earth. Mm-hmm. And that's ultimately not very relevant because they don't have any knowledge of the future or anything. Mm-hmm. But it is kind of interesting that the movie doesn't explicitly spell that out, but allows you to come to your own conclusion about that. Mm-hmm. And so the movie then cuts to
Oh, I don't know if you found an image.
not yet. I was gonna try to give you some
Did I put
time to
like
find
this?
it.
Oh, I thought you were looking it
Oh,
up.
sorry, I
My
thought you were
bad.
looking for it. I've got the Google search
Oopsies.
up, but nothing is immediately coming up.
Okay, hold on.
Here's a shot of him in vehicle form, but you can kind of. This image is probably too low quality.
You're too. I'm
Yep.
kidding.
You can see that he has something on his grill, but you can't see any detail.
Okay, I've got.
Oh, here is an article with all of them labeled, or it's a video.
Oh,
Here, can you see from there?
yeah. Okay. Well. Okay, so that one's an Autobot.
And yeah, thank you,
Decepticon.
thank you.
Can I turn it towards?
Yeah,
me?
sure.
Maximal.
This video is only 3 minutes. I could just let it play and see if the text comes up on the video. Oh, you've got them all up on your phone.
Because I want to double check. This is Wreckers, which are an Autobot subgroup. There was one I definitely recognized, which was the Cybertron Elite Guard.
Oh, cool.
I recognized it on the shoulder because I was like, hold on. There might be a Dinobot in there.
That'd be cool.
I don't know if they're Predacons or not. I was kind of struggling to see them.
And him being from the future, he could have conceivably fought just
Yeah.
about any race.
Would you like to see the TF Wiki list of all the variants?
There's a lot.
There's a lot.
There is a lot for sure.
Yeah.
Some of
there's a
these
ton.
I feel like may have just been simply results of animation errors in the original show because they were very inconsistent with how they drew the logos. Is that real?
Yeah.
Wow. There's a bunny.
Yeah.
And so we then, I believe we cut to Earth next, 1994. And I think the movie both goes way out of its way to remind you that it's the 90s and also doesn't really do much with the setting.
Nope.
Other than a lack of technology, which that's just Star Trek
Yeah.
insignia.
Anyways.
There's one element of this movie that I'm really glad did not take place in modern day, and it was later in the film, the first time Noah meets Mirage. He's inside of Mirage in car form. Yeah. And it's driving, and if the movie was made today, they would 100% would have been a Tesla joke, and it would have been very
sure.
unfunny.
For sure.
And it would have been very obvious. And so I'm glad there's just a lack of, like, in these kind of movies going to do, they're either going to make obvious references to the modern day or they're going to make obvious references to the time period it's set in. I'd rather have that than really obvious, like, dated modern references.
Yeah.
So I guess that's a benefit. But
so yeah, we go to Earth. Do you want me to summarize this? Because I remember
Okay,
a lot
yeah,
of it.
go for
Okay,
it.
I didn't
Go
know
for
if you
it.
wanted me to or not. We get to Earth. It's the 90s because the music.
yeah.
And so we see it kind of starts on Noah. Noah is tinkering with something. I think he's hacking basically cable into a device. And so his walkie-talkie goes off and it's his younger brother, Chris. They call each other Sonic and Tails, which I thought was really kind of cute and aggressively 90s.
Yes.
So
I think he was fixing a VHS player.
Maybe.
Is what it was.
Maybe
Because
that's what it
he
was.
had the Tupac VHS tape. And then when he fixed it, Tupac came on the TV.
yeah, I didn't know. I know he mentioned cable later.
Okay.
But so we see, Noah's an older brother. It's him, his mom, and his brother. And so, mom goes to school at night. And so he takes care of his brother. And we kind of see the first like personal conflict with Noah. His brother has, I believe it's just called stem cell disease, something with the stem cells.
Sickle cell anemia?
Yes. Sickle. That's what I would guess. It didn't outright say it, but, yeah, you're right. So he's hurting, so he needs to take him to the doctor, and he's got a work interview, dressed up real nice. They leave. He encounters, I can't remember his name, the licorice guy.
Reek.
Yeah, Reek. Reek gives him a hard time. He's like, you're dressed like a square, very 90s. And so they take Chris to the hospital, and kind of like the personal issue is that treatment is expensive and they can't afford it. So he tries to avoid, I think the administrator catches him and says, we can't treat your brother without payment. So that's kind of the big conflict. Noah then goes to his job interview, which I think might have been security. of some form. Maybe it might have been higher up, but so anyways, he's rejected from the job before he even gets into the interview because the guy looked him up, and he's former military who apparently doesn't play well on a team.
That's one of the worst pieces of dialogue in the movie. Is like anytime someone says that, I just feel like adults don't typically talk like that, and that's something that you write into a kid's movie. Like you need to learn how to be part of a team, but that wasn't the issue. Seemingly, the issue was that he was inconsistent because he had to go home and take care of his brother a lot.
Yeah, and that they're like, you disappeared. He's like, I had family problems, so they didn't want to hear him. So they're on the way home. They get home, and it's kind of eating Noah up because he wants to help provide. He's worried for his brother and his mom. And so Reek told him that he had an opportunity to make some money, and so Noah kind of begrudgingly hangs out with Reek. So basically, this plan is to steal a car from a fancy gala and sell it. At this point in the film, we are introduced to Elena, who is working in the university on Ellis Island, and so she works in the museum department. So as we see, she's very knowledgeable. Her boss totally takes advantage of her and
Takes all the credit for all her knowledge.
Yep, takes all the credit. And so they got some new stuff in from Nubia, and this new hawk statuette comes in, and lo and behold, it looks just a little bit like Air Razor.
It's got the Maximal's logo on its chest.
So they're trying to determine this is older than Nubia, and her boss is like, okay, whatever.
Not only did the Maximals travel back in time, they went way back in time and have been on Earth
about 5,000 years, I think,
for
was
quite a
what it was
while.
determined.
Yeah,
because it was older than what the lab assistant stated it. She was like, there's no way. So Elena's boss actually is going to the same gala to fundraise or whatever. So her boss leaves and kind of basically gives Elena her laundry, and with it is her access key. Elena takes her key and gets into the restricted area of the lab and starts investigating this. I'm just going to call it the Air Razor statue because that's what it is.
Yeah.
The Air Razor statue.
Now, the fact that the boss goes to the same gala doesn't really pay off at all, though.
No.
Like, there's no reason that she's going to the same one.
Yeah, so I guess...
in the edit that we got, maybe there was a deleted scene.
Okay, apparently there are a ton of deleted scenes that didn't make it in.
Ooh, interesting.
So anyways, so with Elena, she starts kind of poking around and she shines it under a light. I'm guessing an ultraviolet or infrared light to scan it, and the statue falls apart. She's freaking out, as probably any sensible person would, 'cause she's about to lose her job. And so it reveals the transwarp key, or at least as we learn later, half of it.
Yes.
And so she's super confused, and as she is messing, she picks it up. It emits a beam of light into the clouds. And so...
Typically, that's reserved for the third act of such movies.
Typically, that is reserved for the third act. And so... to make a quick side tangent back to Noah, he is now broken into the gala and he is stealing a car that has been there for a couple months. A Porsche, a silver Porsche with, I think, blue racing stripes. So there's actually, I think this was a funny bit where he's breaking in and he unlocks it, and in a second, it immediately locks again. I don't know, I thought that was funny.
So this, I think, is a good time to bring up my first question I have in my notes, which is, why are the Autobots hiding? Because at first I thought, oh, this is great. Because one of my biggest problems with all of Transformers, no matter the version, is the whole robots in disguise thing is rarely utilized. They are rarely in disguise. Like the concept of, okay, you're a giant robot, you need to blend into humanity, you look like a vehicle because that's the only thing that you can resemble, is a fascinating concept. Rarely, especially like after you get past the first movie in a series where they're like open, it goes out the window. So like this felt like a good way to reset that. Like, okay, they are on Earth, they are secretly defending Earth for whatever reason, and they are in disguise. But that is not the case. We find out later. They are just simply stuck here. And why are they in disguise? Why is Mirage just hanging out in this parking garage? It doesn't make any sense.
I think that was my thing. I was like, for months?
It doesn't make any sense.
But so we do get our first reveal of Optimus Prime because he sees the beam of light. I don't think I've ever seen a continuity where Optimus Prime sounds this stressed the entire time.
He's very high strung and very just annoyed with everyone the whole movie.
Nap. And so he sees it, and I want to say he starts freaking out, but I was always kind of like, bro, calm down. And so he starts calling all the other Autobots, and so his voice comes in on Mirage's radio, which is the car that Noah is breaking into.
Yeah, he's currently in the car.
He's currently in the car, and a security guard notices him, and the security guard's like, get out of the car. And he's like, I can't, I'm locked in. And Mirage drives away, and ensues a very long car chase with multiple deaths.
So I think the movie tries to pull some typical movie BS where it like tries to show that the characters aren't dead, but logically, this is very similar. The Batman versus Superman movie tries to pull the same crap where Batman is flagrantly killing people with his car, and Zack Snyder tried to say that they're not dead.
I mean, I don't know. That one cop got hit by a semi.
Yeah.
And then the other one drove straight into a pylon and flipped vertically. Those men are dead.
And later, in another scene they get caught by a security guard, and the Terracons just blow the wall up, and that guy is eviscerated. We never see him again.
He's dead. So Mirage shows up at whatever location they're supposed to do. It's like this old I don't know, some factory of some form. And Mirage lets him out. Noah is kind of understandably freaking out.
Real quick, just like this is both notable for the scene itself, but then not notable because it barely comes up again. Mirage's name is Mirage because he can project holograms on himself.
Yes.
And it's really prevalent in this car chase. But also, most of this car chase is real, which I really appreciate. But in the rest of the movie, very similar to, I feel like the progression of the movie Shang-Chi starts with a good commitment to real sets and real action, and then in the second half devolves into CGI nonsense, and it's really annoying. This is a fun car chase because, like, I would feel like, yes, we want to see the robots fighting. Yes, we want to see them in robot form, and that has to be CGI. I get it. But the cars are fun too. You can have, like, as opposed to something like Fast and Furious when they start like flipping cars and doing ridiculous stuff, it doesn't make any sense. With this series, you can have cars do insane things, and it does make internal sense, and you can do cool car stunts and stuff. And this scene is kind of the only time they really do that. They have a few other car chases, but it's not really big like this. Additionally, the whole hologram projection thing comes up one more time in the rest of the movie, which feels like just a strange... It'd be kind of like if Superman only flew in the first scene and last scene of a Superman movie. Like, it just is odd.
So the other Autobots show up. I think RC shows up next. I feel like I'm legally obligated every time I watch something to go, girl!
Anytime a girl Transformer shows up.
Girl! So she shows up, and it's played by Liza Koshy, who I didn't hate.
She was fine.
Yeah, she was fine. Like, well, not like her as a person, just like her performance. She was fine.
Yeah. I meant in this movie, yes.
And so RC's like, oh, Optimus is going to be pissed. And Mirage is like, no, it's fine. We'll be fine. And Bumblebee shows up, our boy, Bumblebee, and Optimus shows up, and guess what? He's pissed.
Bumblebee still supposedly talks through the quote radio. And even if you extend him to be able to talk through television, the things that the sound prints he's able to pull out don't make any sense. It is like, why does he have access to these very specific quotes?
Child with unregulated internet access.
Yeah, exactly.
So the Autobots are like, we can't have humans because they're not trustworthy.
Which is not what you'd expect Optimus Prime to be saying.
No, and Bumblebee takes offense to that because, I mean, as we see in the 2018 Bumblebee film, and Optimus acknowledges that. He's like, okay, yeah, you found one. That was fine. So obviously, Bumblebee hasn't been around her for a while. I will say, I really liked Optimus's problem solving with Noah, his idea was to make to prevent him from leaving was to put him in a high spot where he couldn't get down. It was just it's
great.
funny. That's what I do to my cat. I don't put her in high places. I put things out of her reach because I don't trust her.
So we're gonna cut in here. We went really long tonight, and we were looking forward to what we want to do in the next week. And we decided that we want to watch and review the original 2007 Transformers film. And that's a decently long movie, so we didn't really want to watch that and try to record next week.
Yeah.
And also our review of Rise of the Beast went on a little longer than anticipated, which is totally cool. So what we're going to do now is we're going to split this episode up into 2 parts. So right now you are at the end of part 1, and you will be able to hear the rest of our review next week.
Just think of it like any other blockbuster that splits into 1 and 2 parts.
And that's super common this year. Spoilers, the Spider-Verse movie, Fast X did it. We know that the next Mission Impossible movie coming out this year is going to do it.
Imagine if Oppenheimer does it.
That would be phenomenal. Or Barbie, or Dune coming out later this year is the second part. So anyways, thank you for listening this week. We hope you've enjoyed the review thus far. I apologize again for going way too long on listing all the actors in the movies.
I don't apologize.
This is Cameron and Rachel saying, tune in next week for more robot monkey action.
Monkey.
Monkey.